Okay, well, I think we should just get started here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining WorkSource and Applestem Network for today's virtual Meet the Employer. We are so thankful for Chief McBride with the Chelan County Fire District 1 to be with us today. Chief McBride will be sharing some great information about their Resident Firefighter Program, as well as their volunteer firefighter opportunities. Before we deep dive and jump in, I want to share just how this Zoom meeting event will work. To keep noise levels at a minimum, all microphones will be muted during this presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will have some dedicated time for questions. You will have an opportunity to share your questions through the chat feature by clicking the chat button on the bottom of your screen or by raising your hand. We will call on folks who raise their hand and able for them to open their audio so that they can ask their question, or we will just ask it for you. From anyone joining us Facebook Live, please use the comment section to ask any of your questions that you may have during the presentation. Now it is my pleasure to turn it over to Chief McBride with the Chelan County Fire District 1 to introduce himself and kick off the presentation. Good morning, Chief McBride.
Thank you, Tammy, and the rest of the team at North Central ESD for this opportunity. As I mentioned to you guys yesterday, this is something been near and dear to my heart for quite a while to be able to do something like this. And thank you, Tammy, for putting this all together, because getting the message out is the most important thing that I'm trying to achieve right now, because as I'm explaining this to other groups, I get a lot of quiet response, and then I start getting questions in, because after people hear the presentation, they're kind of like, is this for real? So hopefully this will reach out to many people today, and if they have questions that pop up in their head later, my phone number is pasted all over here. They can call me anytime, or they can send me an email, or if they'd like to, they can stop in, just call ahead of time, and we'll set up an appointment and come on in. So with that being said, who are we? Well, we're Chelan County Fire District 1. We serve a big area, about 70 square miles, and we cover basically, if people are familiar with this area, from one dam to the other, Rocky Reach to Rock Island. But we also go clear up to Mission Ridge, then way out past the Clackamas-Tarpiskin Ridge line out where we cover. So anything from downtown Wenatchee to residential areas, to the rail yard, to chemical warehouses, to the mountains where the people like to live and recreate, you name it, we pretty much cover everything here. And we have different teams that take care of the different emergencies, but all of them are part of our fire department. So looking over the mission of our fire department is to save lives and property with professionalism through pride, commitment, and compassion. Every one of those words means something, and when the new recruits come into our academy, from day one, it's being stressed over and over and over again what it means to be part of our program. Because our philosophy is residents are going to be treated the same as a career firefighter when they got hired. There's not a big difference, other than when I turn it over to firefighter Phelps, he might say there's a difference in pay between the career firefighters and the residents. But besides that, we pretty much treat everybody the same. Something I just kind of picked up here when we had a little break period there is our chief put together a packet of great information, and here's just a little excerpt from it. He believes in values for all of us, and under values he has duty, respect, and integrity. And each one of those it's broken down so we can start helping people to understand that your core values of what you believe in actually will keep you focused through the resident program, through a career in the fire service, or people who have walked away from here after 2 years and decided this really wasn't what they thought being a firefighter was all about, have been successful in their endeavors going out, leaving here with some of the stuff that we have ground into them. So today's focus is going to be on the Resident Firefighter Program. Next slide, please. So question comes up, why should we join? Why should we join your program? Well, our program does offer quite a bit. We offer the housing for out-of-town individuals. Firefighter Phelps lives out of town, and when he attended the academy, we provided a bedroom for him. If anybody's listening that lives locally here in the Wenatchee Valley, we do offer bedrooms to them if we have any available. And so it just depends on how many people from out of town are actually applying for a position in the academy. The certifications, I'll be covering here in a little bit what that means, but we pay for those. You pass them, we pay for the test for you. The college degree, we'll get more into that, but the college degree is something that the fire district also pays for. You get on the job training after you get out of the academy, and once again, Firefighter Phelps will be able to explain a little bit more of that the on the job training is pretty important because they report to shift and they're treated just like any other firefighter on that fire truck. And then the stipends, we'll talk about that a little bit more too. And so just one thing to remember is that our applicants need to be 18 or older. They need to be at least high school graduate or a GED to walk into our program. So if anybody needs any assistance, please reach out to the school counselors and try to get that taken care of. But we are interested in anybody who would like to join our program. So next slide. Okay, the investment in this program up in the top right-hand corner will save over $32,000. So somebody that walks off the street that gets into our program, that is a very low number because we didn't include housing. If you were to try to get a one-bedroom apartment here in the Wenatchee Valley, you're going to be looking at $1,000 a month. So 2 years, there's another $24,000 that you'd have to come up with. We offered them the Wenatchee Valley College Fire Science Program. We actually have one of our volunteer lieutenants in our department. He's the coordinator at the college, putting this all together for us. And he's got about, I'm going to guess, around 30 years as a career firefighter. He retired out as a battalion chief over in Marysville. And he's also been heavily involved with the Everett Community College Fire Science Program. So Lieutenant McGee is an incredible resource that we have in our department. The Recruit Academy is the first 3 months of an individual's, first steps in the career as a firefighter. And the academy includes the IFSAC Firefighter 1, Firefighter 2, Hazmat Awareness, Hazmat Operations, and the EMT training. The IFSAC testing is provided through the fire district, and also the EMT now is being provided through the district. Upon the completion of the academy, again, the resident firefighter gets assigned to a crew, which comprises of a captain and 2 firefighters. He's going to be part of a team that they train together, they work together, they sleep at the station, same station together, they do everything together, and they really start realizing what it means to be a career firefighter. I think down below there at the very last one, the college tuition, IFSAC, EMT, monthly meal stipend, housing, and a district fire station compensation for hours assigned to shift are included. Again, that's part of that $32,000. If we just stand back for a minute and look at some of this, is that the meal stipend in 2 years comes to around $4,300. And that's doable. You can live off of that. The stipend for being here, and we keep using the word stipend because we have to be very careful not to make it confusing to a part paid firefighter position, because there are some of those in the state of Washington, and we have stayed clear of that for several reasons. It's actually a benefit to not only us, but to the individual that's involved in that program. So the stipend for being on shift is $3,600 a year. And I'm sorry, that $4,300 was per year also. And then we took the college education, and I just don't know of any other program, and Lieutenant McGee will back me on this. He's never heard of a program that invests this much money into the individuals. But the catch to it is, if you want to call it that, or the flip side to it is, the citizens of our community are getting minimum 10 recruit firefighters every year into our department. And to get 10 people in your organization based on firefighters' salaries, you'd have to sustain that with over $1 million a year. So the benefit to the individual is tremendous. The benefit to the community is tremendous. So it's a win-win situation for both parties. Next slide, please. So the application process is to go to chelancountyfire.com. I brought it up on my screen here because I just didn't want to steer anybody wrong. When you get onto our website, there's some tabs across the top. When you find the one marked information, you can look at the history of the organization, which I can touch on that just a teeny bit. But as you slide down, you'll see the physical agility test, which you'll see a portion of that video coming up here soon. And then there's the resident program. The resident program application packet is right there on the screen. All you have to do is click on it, and you can either print it off at your home, fill it out, and send it in to us, or email it to us. Or if you want to come by the fire station, again, if you live out of town, you can schedule an appointment, come in, drop the application off. I can give you a tour of the facilities, and you can really actually see right where you're going to be living and what the training grounds look like. So a little bit of history of the organization. I didn't even talk about this during our practice yesterday, but I thought it was pretty important that Chelan County Fire District 1's been around since 1943. Chelan County and the city of Wenatchee decided back in 2014, 2015 to consolidate the two departments. So they took a fire department that had been around forever, as people would say. It was the first fire department in this region in Wenatchee, and we joined with Chelan County Fire District 1, which got us heavily involved in the resident and volunteer program, which I'm glad to say that things have just been progressing so quickly that the reason why our program is the way it is today is because of all the individuals' input and a lot of creative thinking. Next slide, please. Oh, I already went through the navigation, didn't I? So anyway, that's what the website looks like. And the next slide. So getting your application in is the most critical thing. If we don't have your application by June 15th, it's very difficult for us to process you. So please, 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 if you're interested, you can either call, email, or just fill out an application, and we'll process it. After June 15th, within a couple of days, we'll send out an email inviting people back on one of 2 days for doing our physical agility and for doing our interview process. We are a little bit different than some of the other resident programs. We do not do a written test. We talked about this several years ago, and we're trying to model our program to what it would be like when you get hired on at a fire department. But doing a written entrance exam, we felt like it might either weed some people out or it might keep some people from wanting to apply here. We're looking for two things from the very, sorry about that. I saw the word fire pop up on the screen, so I had to look at it. I lost my train of thought, but we don't want to weed anybody out. We've got several people that have come through our resident program that have actually, they struggle in school. They struggled with some of the tests that we have that are available for them. But to them, they have learned so much in the 2 years here that they are fantastic volunteers for our organization, which they transitioned into. And one of them has left here and has gone over to, I think it was Cheney, to be closer to his fiance. And he asked me, is there a combination department over there? I said, yes. I said, take all the copies of your certificates with you when you go over there, and I bet you can walk right in and become a volunteer with them. So we didn't want to weed people out just based on the written test. So that is something we don't do here. High school diploma, we cover that, 18 years of age. We'll talk about the physical agility here in a little bit. Again, I'll reemphasize June 15th, please have those applications in by then, because it is quite a task to process people. We usually get between anywhere from 12 to 15 people. Our target is to get at least 20 people to come in. And if we could take 20 people through our academy, we'd absolutely love it. It's just, we are growing so fast. We've got, well, 4 stations that are staffed, and we need to get some more people in our program. And some of the younger residents are finding out that after 2 years, if you come right out of high school, you'll be about age 19, 20, maybe 21 when you get out of our program. Well, we don't kick you out. If you want to still be part of our program, you can stay on a 3rd year or a 4th year. The written test or the testing process to get on with the career departments are very difficult. And we try our hardest from the very beginning to get people interested in taking these tests. So I'll save that for later, though. I think that's towards the end. So we can go to the next slide. I'll turn it over to Firefighter Phelps after we get done watching a little bit of the agility.
Ladder to building 2 times. You're at 210. Good pace. All the way to the ground. One more time. Good job. Halyard, you're at 250.
Zach, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, like Chief McBride was saying, what we just kind of saw there was just after you turn in your application, you set up a date to come in and take the physical agility test. This is kind of a couple things that you run yourself through. It's obviously you can go onto our website and find the full video and watch everything that you'll get put through, but it's just a good chance for you to see if how you stack up against some activities that you'll be performing on the job and everything. Chief, do you want me to kind of go into my background and kind of how I got it?
I'd like you to share that, just because that phone call you made with me about a year or 2 ago, and I think you were up in Bellingham.
Yes, I was. So basically how I found out about Chelan County Fire District 1's resident program was I had just taken a job test, and firefighter came up as one of my top results. So that was about 3 years ago. And then I kind of got more interested in it and found out that there are actually quite a few certifications and like EMT, it's a lot of different things that you need in order for you to even think about becoming a career firefighter. So while I was lucky enough to take a leadership class up in Bellingham at Western, I got to take a leadership class through what leadership looks like in the fire department. And right in about the middle of that class, I got sent home because of COVID and everything. And I was lucky enough to get a hold of Chief McBride and to have some interviews with him and other people around the Chelan County area who are leaders in the fire service. And Chief McBride gave me the recommendation of joining the resident program. And I looked into it and found out that you get, it's honestly what I looked at it as is it's the fastest way that anybody that's really interested in the fire service and interested in getting a job, it's the fastest way that you can get all of your certifications, everything that a fire department is looking for, out of the way as quickly as possible. And then not only that, but then to go right into on the job training that is going to look even better on a resume for you. And then to even get some money on the side while you're getting that is a pretty good deal. And just some day-to-day things that, or my day-to-day schedule that looks like Chief McBride said again, I'm with my crew for either 24 or 48 hours at a time. I'm eating every meal with them. I'm training with them. We go out and we'll make meals together. We'll go to the store together. But like the most important thing is that we go on calls with each other. And some of these calls, it's pretty eye-opening to see, some of the things that can happen in this county. But to have people there with you that you form these great relationships with and great bonds, it's pretty special, and it's a pretty unique thing that I think if you're interested in the fire service or interested in serving your community and stuff, this is something that you should definitely take into thought. And again, I have these same responsibilities as a career firefighter. I show up to work every day and I'm expected to know every single piece of equipment on the truck. If my captain asks for something specific on a call, he's expecting me to know what to do, and to not only know how to do it, but to do it at a very high level, which is also something that I don't think very many programs can claim that they have or that they hold their residents to. So not only are you going to get all your certifications, but you're also going to be very, very qualified to be a career firefighter by the end of this program. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
That did, and I appreciate that, because hearing it from one of our residents is, I believe, a lot more powerful than what I could be sharing with people. Because what you have done from the beginning till now, you have the qualifications of starting a test, but don't do that yet. We want to keep you for another year, okay? So,
Yeah.
we seem to be losing our top candidates here in our department a little bit before their 2 years is up. So anyway, thank you, Zach, for joining in with this. And we can go ahead and flip over to the next slide if you'd like. So I just realized Captain Sousley was in the video, and that's the extent we go to. We're not necessarily helping anybody, but we're inspiring people. You might have heard him a couple of times saying, good job, keep going, keep going. It's basically, if people have played sports on a sports team, whether it be soccer or basketball or any sport, you'll really see right away from the beginning here that we are a team. There's a saying that goes around that says, we are one at Chelan One, because again, it doesn't matter which helmet, we used to call it that in the old days, sorry, which status you're in. You can be a volunteer, you can be in our support division, you can be a resident, or you can be a career firefighter. You're going to be treated the same. And it's a team atmosphere where we encourage people and try to help them to get to the next level. So that was physical agility, and I've taken physical agilities in my younger days, and I don't remember people inspiring me when I was taking them. So here at the end goal, testing for a career in the fire service or wildland division. I forgot to mention, we also get our residents, certified with the red card, which there's 3 classes you take. Zach, you might want to chip in. I think it's S130, S190, and L, is it 180?
Yeah, I actually, lucky enough for me, I volunteered before coming to the resident program. So I already had all that taken care of. But yeah, it's the 3. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you get all that taken care of.
Yeah, so now Zach, he won't be up. We don't want him applying for the wildland division this year, but next spring, he will not be done with his 2 years in our organization. But this year we had one of our second-year residents apply, and I believe he's going to be out of the Chelan base for a wildland firefighter. One of our previous residents just got picked up in Colville base camp. And two of our past residents are in the helicopter program, which is ironic because we have our own helicopter here at Chelan County Fire District 1 for wildland firefighting. None of our residents can be part of that program because we have too many of the other people waiting in line to get in. So anyway, we help people from the very beginning. If people want to start testing for a career position, we don't hold them back until the end of their 2 years. They can talk to us. They can talk to people who have just recently been hired, and they will walk them through, help them to get to where they need to start testing. One of our past residents, he was just in his 3rd year, very young, kept taking tests, and he was kind of, a little bit down on himself because he wasn't getting picked up. He did very well for the city of Walla Walla. Unbeknownst to him, the Walla Walla fire chief and one of our battalion chiefs have been friends for over 30 years. So we called him up and he says, "So what's this guy all about?" And our battalion chief says, "Well, don't hire him." And he goes, "Why not?" And he says, "Because we want to hire him." But he goes, "Unfortunately, we don't have a spot. So if you take him now, when we get some openings, we're definitely going to be bringing him back up here." So we have that kind of a connection in the fire service community. And I shared a little bit the other day that we have several of our firefighters in our department that were past managers for either Department of Natural Resources or the Forest Service. And that's how a couple of our members got picked up, because they asked these individuals if they could put their name on the application as references. They did. And these people that we got in our organization that used to be in the management division of these different wildland firefighting teams have tremendous names in that community. And so getting placed is all based upon how bad do you want it. And I really do feel strongly about our program that we do everything we can to get people out the door and get them hired as quickly as possible. And it inspires us to see young people who are really trying their hardest to become better at, whether it be a firefighter or just better in life. We are here to help them and give them that opportunity to better themselves, and then hopefully be able to, pay back to the community in their process. So I'll wrap it up to you, Tam, or leave it over to you, Tammy, because if you don't cut me off, I'll just keep talking. You know me.
Well, thank you, Rick. And Zach, thank you both. Now at this time, we are going to open it up for some questions. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions. Just a reminder, if you are Facebook Live with us and joining us, please type all of your questions in the comments section while you are with us.
So we have a question in the chat. Thank you for the great information. Do you have any suggestions or recommendations for someone who may be interested in applying but has hesitations with the physical agility test?
Yes, if they would like to, they can give me a call and we can talk about it on a one-on-one basis. If they feel like they have some limitations to our physical agility, and if they want to schedule a time to come in and go through it without it being the actual test, we'll be more than happy to accommodate them.
So do you have any recommendations for somebody who's interested in this occupation, if they, maybe go and work out and stuff so that they could get themselves physically capable to do well with your agility test?
Okay, yeah, I can touch on that a little bit, and maybe Firefighter Phelps will be glad to jump in. I tell people if they can do push-ups and sit-ups and jog, I'm not talking about a 5-minute mile, but I'm talking about, try to get it under a 10-minute mile. Do whatever they call that, air squats, where you don't actually put any weight on your body, but you just, or knee bends, whatever they call those things. The idea is if you have not been doing anything physically, let's say for the last year or so, we're only a month away before our physical agility. I don't want anybody to get hurt. So push-ups, sit-ups, and jogging are it's a foundation for any of the physical agility that we do here. Phelps, you got any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, another thing to think about too is that, you know, as far as if you're worried about it, you definitely like contact Chief McBride, and Chief McBride is always willing to set up something to help you out. But you can definitely put a couple months of really training hard on your body and get yourself ready. I think that'll help too. But also, we have really good instructors that are really good at getting us in shape. So as long as you have an attitude of, you know, I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to let the physical part of this beat me, your body will adjust and adapt, and you'll end up being fine. So.
What are the background requirements as far as if they have any blemishes in the background?
Oh, thank you, because I get asked that occasionally from some people. Actually, I talked to an individual yesterday that's very interested, and he asked me that specific question, and I said, well, we do it a case-by-case basis. And have we had people with like speeding tickets? Yes. Have we had people in our program that, you know, out of high school, they did something really dumb, went out and drank alcohol and got pulled over and got a DUI? Yeah, we've got those people. They're not proud of it, but, you know, when they come into our program, if there's blemishes on their driving record or FBI background, we always sit down and talk with them, because it all comes back to the attitude. If we have an individual that was a middle-aged person when he came into our program, and after I looked at his record, I thought, well, I got to treat him the same as I do everybody else, but I can see that some of these infractions that he had was back when he was a late teen, early 20s, and here he was in his mid to upper 30s. And I told him I have to treat him like everybody else. And we had a very long conversation, and by the time we were done, we were both laughing about how sometimes us guys, when we're young, we do things that we just go, oh crap, what did I do that for? So he's in our program. And again, if you have some blemishes on your background checks, don't worry about it. We'll call, we'll talk to you about it. And it's going to come down to being where did I just put it? Duty, respect, and integrity. If we sense that you're an individual who has said, this is it, I'm done doing these kind of things, we'll bring you in the program. And it's up to you to prove to not only us, but mainly to yourself, that you're willing to make these changes in your life to move forward. So case by case basis, so for each individual.
Chief McBride, this is Christy. I have a quick question. You had mentioned earlier, before we had started this call, that you had a someone who had gone through the resident program that was a Marine.
Okay.
And can you talk a little bit about some of the transferable skills from being in the military to entering into this program or being a firefighter?
Sure. In firefighter Phelps class, there was actually two veterans in the program. One was in the Army for either 4 or 6 years, and then we had a veteran Marine that right out of high school, he joined the Marine Corps, and he's been in combat for 15 years. And when he came to us and talked to us, I knew exactly who this individual was. Never met him before, but this was a hard charging Marine. And he decided after 15 years he was more than done in the Marine Corps. Not done with the Marines, just done serving time in the Marine Corps. Went to our community college, talked to some people, came down, talked to me, and he was in the program. So he has skills that he brought along. Again, if firefighter Phelps wants to talk about him, but he's an extremely strong, hard-driven individual that I thought, boy, if he ever took over PT for this class, it's going to be hard on them, because I know that he is more than capable of leading that kind of stuff. But again, veterans that come into our program, they seem to have a little bit more of an edge on the rest of the students, rest of the residents, because them going through our academy, we tell people during the interview process, this is a paramilitary organization, and that it'll probably be a little bit tougher than anything you've been through before. But when we get veterans that come in, we say, well, it's paramilitary, so we're not too worried about you going through our academy as far as the physical and the mental push that we keep doing. And it's a benefit to these individuals that they've been in the military, but it's a huge benefit to the class itself, because the class can actually see these veterans and their attitude and their ability to drive hard, even though when your body's sore and you're tired and you don't feel like you have much left in you. Our academy is designed to push people to the point that, if you even think for 1 second that I just don't have any more in me, well, our instructors, who many of them in our department are also state instructors that go up to the State Fire Academy and instruct up there. They know that when people are tired, we always are taking care of them, giving them breaks, giving them water, but we always push them, because going to a structure fire, going to a wildland fire is not for people who want to quit, because we don't quit. We will go until we can't go any further. The military people, I never question their backgrounds, just because I know they've been trained to go until you can't go, but then you keep going again. My last big deployment that I went on was several years ago, when everything was burning from the Met Howe down to Pateros, and it burned those towns up. That was a night that made me realize that, I'm getting close to retirement, because when you start at 6 a.m, come to work, and then at 8 o'clock you get deployed to a town that's burning up, there's no ands, ifs, and buts on what's going to be expected out of you. And by 11 o'clock the next morning, when you have not stopped, have not slept, all you have is water and maybe a granola bar or two, you realize all that training that was instilled in myself when I was young is that you never quit. You just make sure you just keep enough in your body to keep pushing forward. So I hope that probably a little bit more than what you're asking, but those military people, I have nothing but respect for them. The veterans that come into our program, I have respect for everybody that signs up for our program, because it's a big, huge leap for people coming out of high school, coming into our program. But since so many people have succeeded in our program, that reaffirms to us that our program is not so hard that people can't get through it. And yet we're transforming these 18, 19, 20-year-old individuals into pretty strong physically but mentally strong people for whatever field they decide to go into after they do leave our organization.
Thank you so much for that. We actually have somebody who's joining us today from Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, so I'm sure that's great information for him.
Awesome. Well,
So there's
if he can hear me, thank you for your service to our country.
That was super helpful. Thank you very much.
Next part, networking.
Rick, we have quite a few of questions left, and looking at time, we've got about 15 minutes. So
Okay. I'll be quick on my answers.
Okay.
So one of the questions is, what does a career path look like for a student in high school? Are there any classes they can take to prepare them when they turn 18 and graduate?
Zach, do you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of anything in high school that could get you ready for a program like this. And, I guess it's funny because, you come to at least for me, I come to work and think this part of the reading, I'll never need to read as a firefighter, or I'll never need to use math as a firefighter. But sure enough, something comes up, a call comes up, and you're like, dang, I really wish I was better at math. like mental math. I really wish I could read faster, you know, so just certain stuff like that. So I think just being a well-rounded individual, and making the most out of your courses in high school, I think that's going to benefit you a lot. And then I also think being physically fit, and you know, if you can take you know, more than just your baseline PE classes, I think, you know, a strength and conditioning class, being involved in athletics, you know, learning how to work with as a team, all those things are very important as well.
I'll chime
Thank
in.
you.
I will chime in really fast too. Some high schools have a CTE pathways, and they do have firefighting programs in their classes. So that is something that you can sign up for if your high school CTE program offers it. So.
Thank you, Tammy. I forgot. Yeah, the fire science program.
Yes.
So another question is, what do you like best about working there?
Me?
I guess it's addressed to you or Zachary.
My list would take us probably until tomorrow. I'll zip it up really quick. When I was young, and that was a few years ago only, though. So a couple of years ago when I was young, I had an uncle that was a firefighter right out of World War II, Seattle firefighter. My mom and my aunt used to take me down to see my Uncle Al. He was stationed at the waterfront in Seattle. He was not on the fireboat, but he was the driver of the fire truck. But anytime I went down there, I was either sitting in a fire truck or standing in the wheelhouse of a fireboat. And when I turned 18, it was like, I'm not sure what I want to do, but I think I'll be a volunteer. Became a volunteer. A couple of years into it, they started up this thing called a resident program, so I joined that. And from all those years, since 1980, good heavens, 1982, the rewards you get from being a firefighter, there's not just like one. There's a ton of rewards of being a firefighter. And for me to try to say what the one item might be would be just shortchanging way too much. But the one thing that we always focus on, because sometimes these calls can be very, very difficult, is that when people are calling 911, it's never to see a fire truck because they're sitting at home having a birthday party. Those are scheduled events. When somebody calls 911, it's because they're having potentially the worst moment in their life. And we get to go help them. And it's very rewarding. So it's just a great job, great career.
Thank you. The next question is, Mr. Phelps, what is your next goal after the program? What is your ultimate dream in this industry?
So my next goal after this, my goal is to become a career firefighter. And you know, you get going in this on this journey, I guess, and you start to realize that a career firefighting job anywhere is a good job, just because they're so limited, they're so competitive. Anywhere that you can find a job, you should take it. So wherever that lands me, that's where I would like to be. And then the second part of that question was, what was that?
What is your ultimate dream in this industry?
My ultimate dream would probably be, I'd love to become a captain, wherever I end up being. I just think the responsibility of being a captain, and the training and the knowledge that you get from being in that position sounds like something that I would love to have, and love to have that knowledge and everything. But yeah, just a job anywhere sounds great to me. Right, as for right now, though.
That's okay. You're on the right path, Bill. I'm telling you, you're on the right path.
So another question is, once you go through the program, are you stationed in Wenatchee the whole time, or is there another station we get placed at?
You're stationed in the Wenatchee Valley, which is Chelan County Fire District 1. There may be some opportunities in our near future. I can't guarantee anything, but Douglas County is across the river, which is covering the East Wenatchee. They have another 100 square miles, and they have 4 stations. Well, they will have 4 stations. They're building a couple. And I've already started some talks with their volunteer resident coordinator and looking at our future, and whether it's next year or the year after, it would be fun to be able to see, like, firefighter Phelps maybe going over by the airport that we have and get exposed to what the aircraft rescue firefighting ARF firefighters do. And for some of their residents who are maybe in a little bit slower location, to get them transferred over here to our downtown core, because we do run a lot of calls on this on our side of the river. So I don't want to put any limitations, but for right now, it's just within our 70 square miles. You get to be on a fire truck, maybe a ladder truck. There's only a few of the real lucky residents that get to do that, right?
Yeah.
The other lucky ones get to be in the outer stations, and during the spring through fall, they can be very likely assigned to a brush truck that gets sent up to Kashmir, Leavenworth, Lake Chelan, Eniat, Waterville, Manson, Spokane. So there's a lot of opportunities for these for the residents.
And we have one more question in the chat. Does the stipend cover food?
Yes, it does. I had it here somewhere. It is $4,300 a year. So it comes to about $360 a month. And while they're in the academy, they're not being charged for any of that. I mean, we're buying the food during the academy, but once they get out of the academy, they're between 8 to 10 shifts a month they're working. I'll let Phelps chime in. I mean, can you survive on the $360 a month?
Oh yeah, easily. Especially you'll learn how to cook too. If you don't know how to cook, you'll definitely learn. Luckily for me, I kind of had a little good baseline knowledge, but also your crew members know of your situation. It's not like they're totally oblivious to that. You're not making as much money as just some other job that you'd be working. So your crew will help you out. They'll cook meals with you, and bring shift meals and stuff. So it's definitely doable. I shop at Winco, and I can usually, for a 48-hour shift, I'll end up not spending the whole amount of meal stipend money that I have. So
I forgot also, besides the meal, the other stipend for being on shift, it comes to around $600 or $660 a month total they get. Mm-hmm. Now, we've had some residents in years past that have chosen to move out and split rent with other people. Our program is not designed to support that. And they struggle and they get frustrated. And we just had one here recently that moved out and now has moved back in because paying rent, it takes money. And the mindset is, if you want to be part of the program, you've got to give that full 100% commitment for 2 years. If you're in here, but you want to go out and live on your own, you're going to struggle tremendously. So over $600 a month, if you're living at the fire station or living with a relative in town, $600 a month will take you a long ways.
So we've got another one now for some transitioning out of the Marines and has very little knowledge of firefighting. Is there any good recourse out there to learn more about it?
They could go online and look. They could go to their nearest fire station and go talk to them. But like I said, we have not had any issues with any of our veterans in the past that came into our program. We've got, probably going to miss somebody. Career-wise, I think we've got three ex-Marines. We have actually 2 residents. I almost forgot about the other one. We have 2 residents that are Marines. One's in his second year, the other one's in his first year. And just come with that attitude that Marines have, or the attitude that the Army or Navy, whatever, armed forces you're in, if you bring that attitude with you into our program, you won't have any issues. The only struggle you might have is the classroom materials. But believe me, if your heart's in the right place and your desire's in the right place, you will be helped out. we will do everything we can to help you through the whole program. So if that individual would like to call me later, please do. If I don't answer it, I will get back to all voicemails, or they can send me an email and just say, give me a call sometime. But I'd like to talk to that individual a little more in depth if they'd be willing to.
He says that's super helpful. Thank you so much. And he's put his email in the chat.
Tammy, can you get that to me?
Yes, and then Tanner, I'm providing you with Chief McBride's phone number too in the chat, so you'll have that as well.
Thank you very much.
So Tanner, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can.
Do you have a relative that works in our department?
I do. My stepmom is Kelsey Chase.
Okay, I started thinking about this a little bit more, and good for you. We'd love to have you on here, so give me a call sometime.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You bet.
That's awesome. I work with Kelsey too. So
So that's all the questions in the chat. I don't know if Facebook has any.
You all set.
We don't currently. I think that's it. So.
Okay, well, I think we can move on to our next slide here. So we want to thank everyone that joined us today, both here on Zoom and of course on Facebook Live. And we just want to quickly remind you guys that our local WorkSource staff are always here to help you with any of your job search assistance that you may need. And please feel free to directly connect with us so that we can schedule a one-on-one appointment if you would like assistance with applying or completing the Resident Firefighter Program application. And you'll see the phone numbers for your local WorkSource offices on the screen.
And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Career Connect Washington North Central. Here we have all of the recordings from each virtual Meet the Employer events, as well as other career panels and career connected learning resources. Put the bit.ly there for you to find it, and also in the chat.
Thank you, Tammy. And if any of you guys are interested in attending one of our future Meet the Employer events, you're welcome to check out the WorkSourceWA.com calendar or the Apple STEM Network Facebook page so that you can register in advance. And for our upcoming event next Tuesday at 10 a.m., we are going to be joined by Just Right Cleaning and Construction. And of course, we want to thank everyone so much for joining us today. And thank you to Tammy McBride and the Apple STEM Network for your continued partnership on these events. We couldn't do it without you. And of course, we also want to give a huge thank to Chief McBride and to Firefighter Phelps for joining us today and sharing such great information. So thank you, everyone, and you guys have a wonderful day.